Well, welcome back everybody to another video. It is a great day. We made it to Candace. We made it on Candace's show. And I can't do nothing but just appreciate all the support. I always say we because I definitely this entire journey on social media, you're never solo. You're never by yourself. You can't do anything by yourself, especially when it comes to platforms. People obviously follow you and support you for a reason. You're not just this solo dolo guy. I may be speaking by myself. However, there's a large group of people that support the content, that like the content, that share the videos, that allows it to reach certain audiences to the point where it has made it to Candace's show. So I will always say we made it on Candace's show. I said it on everything. And it is super, super dope. I definitely, appreciate it all. Very thankful for it all. I definitely did not expect this many interactions with Candace in 2026, from commenting on TikTok videos to liking TikTok videos to posting it to her story, supporting to now her show. And it's great, man. So I can't do nothing but thank the Yapper community, the Yap community, and let's keep on pushing to figure out the truth on everything. But make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are on the road to 22K, and I appreciate all the support along the way. I saw all of the comments and theories on the last video that you guys seem to enjoy, which was about the topic of today, which is what made it to Candace's show. And that's the picture of Erica's the kids that she tried to use as an alibi were not her kids. And it's a very hot topic and it's very interesting. And I think it is very problematic because for anybody that was a supporter, right? If you were a Shalami supporter, what would you have to say now about knowing that this is confirmation and it's confirmed that those aren't her kids? When she tried to provide an alibi that she was with them and not somewhere plotting her husband's death. What do y'all think, Shalami soldiers, Shalami supporters? What do y'all think? Because it has been confirmed, and now the principal has her take on it. And I think that it is, I say it all the time. Roles are reversed, and this was a man in the situation, and something mysteriously happened to his wife. And when questioned, he couldn't answer simple questions about where he was, his whereabouts, all of that. And he couldn't answer. He was very suspicious. He would be in a precinct somewhere being interrogated. And if somebody were to say, hey, can you provide an alibi of, where you were? And this husband lies on his alibi and provides a picture of some kids that aren't his kids, he would be in jail. He would be in jail, locked up for murder. Okay? Locked up, because in the court system, when it comes to men in particular, you are guilty until proven innocent. So if the roles were reversed, even if it was Charlie Kirk, he would be dragged into the jail and at least interrogated. The least, he would at least be interrogated. But for some odd reason, this lady is protected by somebody, right? I'm just going to throw it my opinion. The administration, the feds. But how is she already looped and grouped with the elites? That's the odd part that we have to kind of figure out what's really going on here. Because first she was just a wife that none of us really knew who she was. And, oh, she's just Charlie Kirk's wife. I didn't even know her name. I just knew Charlie Kirk was married. And then next thing you know, she comes out of nowhere. I appoint my wife, Erica, to be the CEO if something happens to me. Out of nowhere. We've never seen that video ever, right? I got a tweet going on right now. I'll show y'all a little later. But basically a count up, I guess, of just saying how many days it's been since Turning Point, how many days it's been since we've been requesting the full footage of Charlie Kirk saying those words, right? Candace started it with a 40-day counter. And I was like, well, let's just make it a tweet. Let's just keep it going. So this lady went from just being a wife, a stay-at-home wife, to now all of a sudden she's protected by the same people that are probably on the files. And you have to wonder, how is she already grouped with those people? How is that possible? You know, I don't think Charlie really knew who she was. I really don't think so, because she is getting the same treatment as real politicians. Meaning, when something happens with Trump, Tim Walsh, with the fraud in Minnesota, nothing's happening to those people. Even though he was caught stealing billions, nothing's gonna happen to them, right? The corrupt. How was she already looped in that when she was just a stay-at-home wife? Very strange. And she didn't just get thrown in there because her husband died. Charlie wasn't even in there. It'd be different if Charlie was in there and she inherited being a fake and a phony and corrupt, right? It would be different if she inherited all of that fakeness. But nobody knew who she was. And now all of a sudden she's in that group. Very odd. And so if this was Charlie, if this was the man, where would we be today? I don't know. This single-handedly should completely shatter any credit she ever had for some people. Right? She didn't have zero in my mind. But anybody that's ever supported her, this should destroy all credit, especially to my mothers out there. To my mothers out there, how do y'all feel? How do y'all feel about this woman lying on her kids? And it made it all the way to Candace. And so let's take a look at what Candace had to say about the tweet that went out. And her, she didn't mention my name, but everybody that, if you know, you know. She's gonna show the tweet and stuff like that. So let's take a look at what Candace said on her show.
I asked him, hey, do you have proof of this? He says, but it's worth saying.
Let's remember, this is the backstory on Gary Melton, or Milton, whatever his name is, Paramount Tactical. He's the one that broke this story that was trying to establish an alibi for Erica to prove that she wasn't in Fort Huachuca. And this is Andrew Covett texting him the alibis that back Erica, but he wasn't supposed to show this. He was only supposed to say this out loud, that he has sources that can prove that Erica was where she said she was. Instead, he airs it on the screen. And this is where we see the picture. Everybody's like, hold on, what? So that's the backstory. Now I'm allowed Candace to react to it all.
Erica wasn't in some fort in Tucson. The internet's gone insane. She woke up next to Charlie on the 9th, went to the office with Charlie all day, woke him up from a nap before a fox hit, went to dinner with Charlie. Literally, people are lunatics. And then the next one, I will show you guys that one. Right here we have this one. And then I'll show you an up-close picture with the metadata that we have on the screen itself. Proof, she was with her kids at 8:33 a.m. Pacific time, which again, in September, Arizona's on Pacific time. Taking them for a walk. Apparently I wasn't supposed to share that. But anyways, point being is that's 8:33 a.m. It shows the date on that. Sorry, Andrew. I screwed that up, man. I was trying to run a podcast and do everything else. But again, it's proof of what's going on here. And I'm going to share the final screen, the final picture that shows the metadata for this, that she was indeed with the kids. I keep hitting the wrong button. You guys can see that. It says right at the top, September 9th, 8:33 a.m. Case closed. Case closed.
Case closed.
He's doing his best. He's it was on specific time. Arizona was on specific time. It was a very specific time in the Pacific. But so we get to this moment and you're going, wait a second, a lot of things happening here that are weird, but you could see Andrew's very clear. This is her alibi for the 9th. He also says, which was very strange, and I ended up texting both him and Justin Strife after this, that Erica was at the office all day with Charlie. she wasn't on the 9th. She has never made that claim publicly. Actually, the exact opposite thing is what she tells Jesse Waters, that Charlie was in the office all day. So she was not with him on the 9th. The 9th was not ever in question for Erica Kirk. I wasn't really questioning, but she may have had some business at Fort Huachuca. Like I said, her parents are in the military. She may have just gone to a hotel for a reason. Who knows? But this moment made us go, this is weird. And instantly, people like Miami in the chat here began making videos saying, those aren't her kids. The son is supposed to be 16 months. The daughter, these are not Erica Kirk's kids. By the way, because critical thinking does not seem to be something that Gary Melton's able to do, this is no indication. Even if these were her kids and she was covering their faces, this would be no indication that Erica Kirk was with them. It's a photo.
That's also what some of y'all said in the comments in the last video, which is a great point. And I didn't even think of it like that. I was just so fixated on the fact that they weren't her kids. But yeah, somebody, probably a few people, but somebody said, yeah, I mean, even if it was that, how does that prove that she was there in the room with them by taking a picture of them? And I'm like, that is a valid point. So this is a terrible alibi all around.
Of the kids by themselves. Okay, so this could be taken by a nanny, right? Nanny could have taken them somewhere and they're sending you the photo of, yeah, can you send me a photo of the kids? You take that to, here we go. This is not proof of anything, but the thing I want you to focus on is they said kids. Andrew said, here is proof she is with her kids. And they did try to pass off the idea that this was Erica's kids. And I looked at the photo. I'm an expert at toddler hands, toddler everything. I've got extra tall kid. Like this was very clearly, at the very least, not her son. But I abstained. I completely abstained from that until I received information from people who would know, who know the kids very well.
And that was the point. That was the reason why I know personally I was like, I can't wait to hear Candace's take on this, because she hasn't. This is her first time ever talking about this on her show. And since December, I've always wanted to know her take on this, her opinion, because I know she knows what they look like. And I know she knows somebody else that knows what they look like. So they can easily confirm or deny if these are her actual kids. We knew the boy wasn't, but I just wanted confirmation because we know she knows, or she knows somebody that does know what these kids look like.
And said, not only is that not her son, it's not her daughter. And I said, that's really, you're saying this is just somebody else's kids, full stop? And I'm not, I was not willing to allege that. I also just feel a sense of ick when the kids are being used in an alibi. I don't want to spotlight children, have people looking for children. It just, all of that was like, I'm just going to abstain from it. I know deep down, at the very least, that isn't her son. And I'm hearing from someone that it isn't her daughter either. But I'm going to abstain from it until Gary Melton did what Gary does the best. He's the great.
He fell for the bait. I threw it out and he fell for it. Thank you, Gary.
Greatest PR firm. He really is. He's the greatest PR firm, not for Turning Point USA, but for the people. He doesn't mean to be. He's confirmed so many things by accident. He confirmed that Mitch was at Fort Huachuca when he asked in there, because they shout to Huka. It turns out, and pushing it into. So anyway, Gary Melton tweeted this a couple of days ago. Yes, people have been pushing and insisting these are not our kids. These are not our.
Y'all can see the tweet. Yes, sir. You know who that came from. Come on. That's a shout out within a shout out. I'll take it.
Kids. And someone wrote, is her son this big yet, or am I still stuck in the future with Charlie's apparent 5-year-old? I actually never read the tweet that he was responding to. That's very funny. Again, the internet being asked not to believe our own eyes. And Paramount, Gary finally responds and says, it's not her son. It's her daughter with another child. Look, mystery solved. Okay, don't gaslight us. You were the people who introduced this. Even if it were her actual children, it would not have been a sufficient answer. It would not have satisfied interest as to whether she was with her kids. Anybody can take a photo of your children and send it to you. Secondly, you presented this as concrete proof, case closed, that Erica was with her children. Andrew says, here she is with the kids. Now, suddenly, the internet has not let go of the fact that they don't think these are Erica's kids, and you're now finally copping and saying, okay, well, maybe we went too big on the kid, too big on the son. It's not her son, we admit. So it's not proof of the kids, full stop, and it's not proof that Erica is with her kids. Again, why? Why are we doing this? Why are they being so weird? Why are they constantly adjusting, telling lies, gaslighting, being consistent, working behind the scenes to get out something that I was happy
Oh, I mean, my bad.
to just go ahead and debunk? Because like I said, I was like, 40, 60. Maybe he saw her, maybe he didn't. Even if he did see her, doesn't mean Erica was doing anything weird. Like that she lives in Arizona. She has a family that's involved militarily. That's not weird. It would not be weird unless you make it weird, unless you start telling lies. That is what makes people not trust the Turning Point USA apparatus. It's always this, a slight pivot. You told us this, now we're going to pivot and give you a different story, and then basically say to you, how dare you recognize the first story that we told you was not accurate in its entirety.
Exactly. That's all it is. And that's the part of the psyop. That is literally a part of the psyop. Because he literally said in his own video, case closed. Erica's with our kids, case closed. And now he's saying mystery solved to me. Oh, the boy is not hers. Mystery solved. It's her daughter with another kid. Mystery solved. You just said case closed months ago. And you tried to convince people that it was her children. That's why you said case closed. Everybody, don't worry about it anymore. Here's the picture of her kids. I got it from Andrew Colvett. Case closed. You just said that. So it's so crazy how these people on the internet operate. And the internet is honestly their biggest enemy. Because now you can just pull up receipts. And that's the part of the kind of like the psyop as well, is that they know the internet exists. And it's not even like they attempt to delete past things that they've said that contradict what they're now saying. They leave that video up. They leave that footage up and then completely pivot to something totally different. And then when we point out, like Candace just said, when we point out, hey, here you are on video saying this, right? So how are we supposed to just all of a sudden now, what just happened? Can you at least acknowledge this part? Can we acknowledge the fact that you used to say this? Let's start there. Can we get an explanation on why you said what you said that's now having you say this? And they won't. They'll just completely ignore the fact that they used to say that. And it's like, what is happening? What is happening up here? Am I living in crazy land? Because this is common sense stuff. I'm going to obviously retract what I said, or make a statement, or apologize. I had something wrong. Turning Point USA and all these Shalami soldiers, Gary Melton, Lisa, they all the same way. They just completely ignore the fact that they said a bunch of baloney months ago, weeks ago, and then they just moved to another story. And it's like, who told you that? Who told you that? And then what happened to your last theory? Because I've been pretty consistent. You've changed multiple times, but you're going to sit here and call me the crazy person for not believing your new theory. It's absolutely insane. And they are trying to gaslight us. She did not have any kids over early that morning. That's what they're trying to tell us, because she didn't take a picture of a random kid with her daughter and send it to Andrew Colvett. Right? So that story doesn't make any sense either. That's dumb as hell. Why would you do that? That's even more weird if you ask me. You're gonna send a random picture to Andrew Colvett that could potentially be released to the world. How smart of you? That makes zero sense. But I think, now that we know that this is confirmed, and I'm so glad that we can now have this kind of on paper as something we figured out. The next question is, what from here? Now that we know that she lied about her kids, now what? That's always the next thing. Now what? Now what? Why did she have to lie about those kids? Right? I saw people in the comments of the last video saying, I mean, if both of these kids are fake, what do we have to say about like Charlie involved in this? What does that leave him? Is she just lying on herself right now? Because she's just trying to prove that she wasn't somewhere where she wasn't supposed to be? And it's strictly just about her lying? And she was the one that decided to come up with the picture of the fake kids? because she didn't really have a picture of their real kids? Is it that? And it's just her alone being a psycho. Or is Charlie involved in all of this as well? And this is something bigger than we can even imagine. I don't know. It's hard to believe to loop Charlie into all of that. But then you have to ask a lot of questions because I told you I read all y'all comments. So I agree with a lot of y'all theories as far as like just thinking about, it's odd for a woman to not want to be seen pregnant, at least for your first pregnancy. You know what I mean? Like your first time pregnant, take pictures, glowing. You're not hiding anything. You're pregnant. It's still you. Your kids is totally different. I understand not posting your kids. I don't post mine. But it's also weird for you to not post your kids, but you actually are posting your kids, but you're purposefully making sure their face is not in it. Now it's like you're going the extra mile to prove you have kids. But hey, even if it takes 5 takes, let's post the kids, but their faces are blurred, or let's post the kids and their heads are turned this way. And it's like, just don't post them at all. We know you have kids. If that's what you want to prove, we know that. But you consistently posting your kids with their faces not shown is weird, because that's what we're going to think about. Why are you doing this? Just don't post them at all. That's fine. And then as a kid, they must be some well-trained kids, because there are videos, right? There are videos of 10, 15 seconds of these kids not accidentally turning around. Right? It's 10, 15 seconds of these, and it's multiple videos of these kids trained to not turn around and look at the camera, to not jump in the camera. They're kids, right? They don't know no better. There's plenty of times I'm making TikTok videos and my son try to hop in and I'm like, I got to scratch the video. You know what I mean? I got to scratch it. Or if I try to record him doing something funny, cool, whatever, he might turn around because he's a kid, right? Turn around and say something, talk. Now I'm like, dang, I got to scratch the video. And if I got to do too much just to get him in a video to not show his face, I'm doing too much. So I just say, I'm just not going to post it. So it makes you wonder all of those things. It's like, why did you want to hide your pregnancy? Right? Why are you going the extra mile to not show your kids' faces? Just don't post them. But hiding the pregnancy is weird, because it's like, you don't want people to know you were pregnant. Why is that your concern? That's just odd. I've never seen a mother really do that before, outside of maybe celebrities. But even then, they typically pop out when they're like pregnant. I know sometimes women don't like the beginning phase because you're kind of in between, right? In between, where you don't know if the public knows you're pregnant, or maybe you're just bloated. I get it, right? It's a weird in between phase between like that 0 and 3 to 4 months. But once you're pregnant, typically people come out because they're like, it's obvious that I'm pregnant. So why is it that she never wanted to be seen pregnant? That's weird, right? I've always wanted to believe that they actually have real kids. But when you start really looking at the patterns, right? Pattern recognition, you start to think it's actually pretty odd. It's odd that you didn't want to be seen pregnant. It's odd that we don't even have anything about you delivering, right? I think there might be something out there, but just the fact that people had to dig for it. Now that your kids are here, right? She did it twice. You got 2 kids. So you did all of that twice. And now you're posting kids, but I'm assuming multiple takes to make sure they're not looking at the camera, or to make sure when you take a picture, make sure you hold their head the other way. Why? And now this. Now you send in a picture of some fake kids and you cover their faces. You add all of those things together, and I think we're all left stuck wondering if she actually has kids. And I wasn't even there, right? I wasn't even at that point yet. But once all of this is going down and you bring all the context together, you start to wonder, maybe we need to really think about that. Maybe so. Because who would lie about something like this? I don't know. It's crazy. But I do appreciate Candace for bringing up the tweet, and a little shout out. I'll take it. No names mentioned, but that's completely fine. I'm definitely not tripping on that. I don't do anything, any content, anything that I post, do whatever. I don't ever do it for a shout out. I just do it for the community that has always supported me, always loved, the content that I put out. It's for them, for y'all, and I enjoy doing it. It's for myself too. I just truly enjoy doing it, and I also want to find out what happened to Charlie. That was something that affected all of us on 9/10, and I came from a place where I didn't really know Charlie like that. I knew his name, but I didn't know him like that. So when this all first went down, it's weighed heavy on me because once I went down that rabbit hole, he seemed like a great guy. And now seeing everything unfold with everybody lying around him, his closest friends, his wife lying around him, and just not making sense, because if Tyler Robinson was truly the lone wolf, everybody's story would make sense. Everybody's story would match. Nobody would have to lie. It's literally that simple. If Tyler Robinson was the lone wolf, then you can ask 22 people in Turning Point USA and say, where were you on September 8th, 9th, and 10th? And every single one of those people could tell you exactly where they were, because they had nothing to do with it. But once the lies started happening, I'm like, what do you have to lie for? You're guilty. You're guilty. I didn't say no names, so y'all can't come for me. You're guilty. So just pursuing truth, and hopefully we'll get there. We talked about it the other night too, with Barron uncovering that Tyler Robinson was actually in custody at 6:50 p.m. on 9/11. We're getting there. It may not feel like it, because now the next question is, well, if the feds are in on it, who's going to arrest the feds when the feds are supposed to be doing the arresting? We don't know. Okay, I don't know. But we're getting somewhere, one step in the right direction of just revealing the truth and revealing all of these evil entities. So let's keep fighting for truth. Let's keep exposing. Let's keep applying pressure to these people, and let's make sure you like the video before you get out of here. Like the video before you get out of here. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We on the road to 21. What? 22? Which one? 22. We on the road to 22K. I appreciate all the support along the way, and I will see y'all on the next one.